So I'm from a little town 100 miles south of Little Rock. It's called Camden. And Camden is, back in those days, when I was a kid, there was about 14,000. And when I came back 8 years later out of the military, it was about 18,000. There for a while, 16, 18, got close to 20. It was going through a growth spurt. And a lot of things in the spirit were happening. Number one, I was, of course, married and maturing and being mentored as a Christian, and I was the foundation was being laid or was being strengthened so that I could do what I do now. So we were in a little band, me and Kim, and we weren't that great. I mean, it was a little Christian band, and we played for praise and worship different places, and we had some great times and ministered each other. But so one of the problems was we never had a place to practice. So we started practicing at one of the band members' family's house, and I think they got tired of the racket, and so they opened up a building that they owned there in town and said, well, just, you guys set up down there and you leave your stuff set up. And, well, you know, I know a hint. But anyway, so we go to this building, and it's an abandoned printing, this building had been used as there was a printing press and a building where it's a printing company. It was out of business. And this guy had bought the building, and he used it for storage, had all kinds of stuff. It was a big building. So there was a corner back there in the building that had electricity, and the roof didn't leak, and so we sat up back there and we prayed and cried out to God and wrote music and sang to the Lord, and it was a great practice place. So one time, after this is over, I had the key and everybody had left. And I walked out to the parking lot, and I will never, ever forget this. I was probably 27. And just remember, that was a long time ago now. There was no internet that I know about. There was no cell phones. There was none of that was going on. Now, there might have been the big ones, maybe, but of course we didn't have anything like that. But what there was Christian television on the satellites. You know, people could watch PTL, some of that stuff was on, and I had watched that, and it actually ministered to me. And so there was it was television. So I walked out of there, and all of a sudden, I saw me on film preaching. And so then I began to think, I thought, oh, God's going to take this building. We're going to have a big satellite thing out front. This is going to be the Bruce Belin network or what. I didn't think that, but you know what I meant saying. Some kind of Christian. I'm like, Lord, I prayed, I cried, and I felt the Spirit so strong, and I thought I knew what He was saying. But what I knew was that there was going to be ministry right there at that location. Ministry. So we continued to practice. I never told anybody. We continued to practice. We continued to play. We played around. When I say played around, played different churches and stuff, and got to minister. And I began to speak, and my speaking gift began to come out a little bit, and things began to happen. But here's what happened. So then I'm in a meeting. I'm working as the police department in that town, in the police department there. And I'm in a city council meeting, and this guy that owns this building stands up and says, I'd like to donate that building to the city. And I'm like, that's what? And so they ended up donating that to the city. Now I want you to get this part, this is important. So they donate it to the city, they redo it, it becomes the police department. And the very place that we worshiped, the very place that we prayed, became my office. That corner of the building was the place where the detectives' offices were. And I had an office in the building in the same place that we would worship. God knew exactly what he was talking about. I thought it was going to be the La 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 network, Christian network. And guess what happened? The thing that I saw, me ministering on film, then happened 25, 30 years later. I'm sitting in a studio. They're recording. Now, we're doing it again today, but they're recording me, and I'm preaching, and I'm telling the story of the prodigal son, and then all of a sudden it all came back to me. I said, wait, this is what I saw. And I'm still not rich or famous. But you know what? It didn't have to do with me. It had to do with what the Holy Spirit was saying, was doing. And it's a wonderful thing to know that we see darkly. We always try to fill it in with what we think. And I'm doing that less than I used to, because I kind of say, God, okay, I see what you're saying, but you do it ever how you want to.